Hello everyone, it's Danny Toolkire-Hafen here for the Collegiate Finals. We have University of California Irvine versus Columbia, and it's going to be a great game today.
Yeah, and how's it going, guys? My name is Visions. I will be joining the cast today, and I am extremely excited for what we're going to get today. We've seen a lot of really good champion picks. We've seen some great series that have led up to this, and I cannot wait to see how these teams are going to match up against each other. It's going to be quite the series.
We're already into the pick and bans with Kaisa and Cassiopeia taken off the table. Julian said himself yesterday that he expects to not get his hands on Cassiopeia at all this series, and I agree with Coachman to take that away and make that prophecy true.
Absolutely. We've seen time and time again. I mean, even throughout his solo queue, he has just been absolutely a monster with that champion. Got him to rank 1, as we've heard the story before. But as we've seen it yesterday, he was playing out of his mind. I completely understand that they've taken this off the table. And now as we start to get through the picks, we are going to see Trundle actually locked through for Columbia. And Trundle's quite the pick. We've seen it time and time again as well. And I'm curious to see what they respond with. Aurelia was also taken off the boards, and as well as Kaisa. So looks like they might respond with Zaya Rakan potentially.
They don't need to take the Zaya right now. Rakan is very strong in and of himself, where the Zaya is sort of weak. Rakan was the most picked support or banned support in MSI, and it's still prevalent, very much so throughout this tournament these last 4 days. But Caitlyn Morgana has also been one of the stronger picks, and I think this is the fastest pick ban I have ever seen. They did it lightning fast. We can't even say the name of the champions almost.
They're definitely going through fairly quick. I mean, you have to think they've had a lot of time to study each other's picks and bans, study their strong picks, take away what they're good at, and I guess both teams have an idea of what they want to go with, as we do see both bot lanes already locked in, as well as both junglers locked in as we head to the second ban phase. And what do you think will be banned out towards the second ban phase? Maybe potentially Ornn, maybe some top laners?
Columbia is going to probably ban out the stronger flex picks, but they've already gotten rid of the two strongest, the Aurelia and the Vladimir. So only Swain is left for those strong flex picks. So yes, Ornn Jizz was banned, like you predicted. Maybe the Camille as well. Captain Nuke likes his Renekton for Bruiser for lane dominance, but I don't think that will be banned out.
Yeah, not just yet. As we see the Yasuo ban come through there, we've seen Stumpy pop off with that. That has definitely been a very high priority pick for him. So no surprise taking that off the table. But going forward, I mean, we haven't actually seen Stumpy really play much of a tank champion. I believe we've seen his Yasuo. We've seen lots of carry champions. We saw Gangplank yesterday as well. So I'm curious to see if maybe they end up putting him on that tank champion, considering they don't actually have too many tanks right now, just the Trundle, as they still have to pick their mid.
With this Swain coming through, I would like to see a Scion. It is strong in the mid lane. Should they bring another mage and decide to put the Swain top, and he's still competent top lane versus the Swain.
Absolutely, and as we go forward here, we're seeing the hover on the Karma, so maybe something to help buff up the Caitlyn so that she can be very aggressive, have the extra shield. Most likely will go into the Ardent Sensor, and also have the spell shield on top of that. So maybe this is more of a game where Evan's saying, all right, they've kind of banned out some of our carry champions. We're looking to maybe put some of the weight onto Evan to see if he can actually step up and carry the first game. But as we speak, we have the Cho'Gath as well as the counter pick with the Gnar going into that top lane. So maybe a chance for Nuke to take over the game as well.
There is something that must be stated about Columbia's team comp. They have two of the most impressive skills in the game for dealing with tanks, with Cho'Gath's True Damage Feast and Trundle's Subjugation. That will make it quite hard for the front line of California Irvine to be able to do anything. If Rakan does not pull his engage off perfectly, one feast from Cho'Gath will take him out in the very late game. And I feel that they have the late game scaling, Colombia, but the mid and early game strength, except in the Morgana Caitlyn bot lane for the first 10 minutes of the game, is just really impressive, though, from Irvine, and it's going to be difficult. It's a very close game already with this very quick pick and ban phase.
Yeah, it definitely happened fairly quick. However, we are already getting ready to load onto the rifts. And now that we do have all champions locked in, looks like we have some very good team compositions. What are your predictions going into game one?
Game one, I'm going to give it to Colombia. I think they've had more time to prepare, and they've picked an easier composition to play. The one thing they are lacking, though, is a good hard engage, but with 3 teleports on their team, I'm pretty sure they'll be able to trick out Irvine at least once to get Cho'Gath an immaculate flanking teleport play.
Absolutely. And I'm extremely excited to see how this game is actually going to go down for us. We are jumping into it here, and there's a lot of champions that really can take over the game. I mean, like looking at the Gnar, if the Gnar does get a big enough lead onto the Cho'Gath, he can really start to push and just be a constant split push pressure. As well, we've seen Graves also be quite a nuisance in this early game. Someone who can really push out the other jungler, get aggressive when he has pushing lanes, and also be able to carry the game. So super excited. However, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of priority on this bottom lane for Colombia. I mean, going forward, looking at this Caitlyn Morgana, we've seen it time and time again be very strong, get lots of damage onto the tower early, and potentially set up ganks as well with the binding.
So I understand the thought process behind Lotman's Doran's shield, but in this game of 1 of the series, I would have much preferred him taking the Doran's blade, trying to fight Evan face to face. It's just, he has more experience. Blood in the Water has more experience. They need to not be so willing to forfeit that lane to Caitlyn and Morgana, and the Doran shield tells me they are already forfeiting it, and I do not appreciate that. Not from the caliber of play that they've showed so far this tournament.
Yeah, really showing a lot of respect over to the bot lane. I mean, ultimately, definitely a good point. And as we see this, we can already see the push coming through here. Early level 2 should come out to Evan and Dean there. But as we go forward too, we can just see Julian's just going to want to constantly push, poke, do as much damage as he can to the Swain early to see if he can get some kill pressure for the Trundle to come in. But pretty standard. Both junglers actually started on opposite sides this time. And we're going to see both be on the opposite side of the map as Trundle did a full clear and is actually coming down to his bot side. So they are actually going to be able to match each other, and we might see them meet up towards the bot.
If you were paying attention to the mini-map in the last 30 seconds, Graves avoided a ward in the river, but when he was taking the scuttle, they still pinged out, expecting him to be there, which was very well guessed, and it makes it hard. He was probably looking for a gate bot lane, but Evan and Dean have decided to release the pressure and let Latman and Bloodwater out slightly so that gank couldn't come through. Very well played by Columbia College there.
Absolutely. And we are going to see the Ocean Drag be the first dragon that is going to spawn here. We talk about getting that early Ocean Drag for champions like Ezreal, even champions like Swain, where they're constantly putting out a lot of abilities. It can obviously play a huge effect for having that mana regen and health regen early for laning phase. It plays a big deal. So maybe we'll see Graves work his way down for that eventually, as he has a pretty strong dragon take. But ultimately, pretty standard lanes. A little bit of aggression coming into Latman. Nice little trade there. But ultimately, pretty standard right now. Curious to see how these junglers are going to influence this early game and see if they can maybe potentially pressure one of these lanes.
With the fleet footwork on both Graves and Gnar, there's quite a bit of potential to take out Stumpy in a early lane gank. But that's still about a minute to go from now, and I think most people, especially with the Doran shield buy and everything, they just, both teams have it in their mind. We're going to farm to 6 and then do something.
Yeah, absolutely. We can actually see Stumpy is pretty right now, as Nuke actually is about to mega out, so we should be able to pressure him back off the wave. And I believe this is one of the first games that we actually have seen Stumpy play on this tank top lane. So I'm curious to see how this ends up going for him. I'm really curious to see how he will be able to respond, not necessarily being the carry, but more being someone who's soaking up damage, as we see a bit of an invade here by Youngbin, just taking his aggro off of the Gromp there, making it reset, just being a nuisance, doing Graves things as he has the wave pressure from both his top and mid.
But there is smite by both champions, and they're both wasting time here. It might come to a smite fight eventually. Nar did sneak past the Cho'Gath and is coming down to secure that Gromp.
Yeah, making sure they're getting down there, and that's the priority we talk about in that top lane right there. And we can still see that Buckzak is still here, just kind of lurking, just trying to see what's going on. He's actually going to lose 2 camps, most likely, as they go to the Gromp there, and he's getting forced out. Maybe going back to see if he can secure the Gromp. Looks like they're just going to walk out now, though, but lots of pressure, and that's just Graves as we talk about it, and the lane dominance from the top lane coming down and securing that camp, and just getting in Buckzak's face.
At least he was able to get those 2 wards. Wards do give gold and experience. And with the lack of Tracker's Knife, that's been a very long thing but with it, that means no more wards for Youngbin for the next minute and a half, which could be used to sneak in other places by Buckzak to try to get his farm back into this game. We have yet to see the teleports from the 80 carries. We should be seeing that in about the next minute and a half. They already have plenty of gold for their first buys, and if they are trying to get the dragon, they will need that buy to have the dominance in lane and in the skirmishes that would come.
Absolutely. And now we can just see still lots of vision being cleared here. And you can see all the laners, the top lane and the mid lane, are constantly helping Graves when he's in this jungle invading. And they typically always have the shove here, which is really good, as a nice trade goes on to Julian there. It's a few autos in. But we can see how they're always assisting with the jungler. And when you have an aggressive jungler like Graves who's getting in the jungler's face, you want to have your lanes be able to have priority so that you can really push in and do that. So really good to see out of them. Really good to see that he's starting to really be a nuisance in the early game so far.
Lotman was able to back first and already finished his purchase. They have the Scuttle Crab taken already. It is quite possible that they will try to get this Ocean Drake in the next 20 seconds, as Evan just barely backed himself, and he's TPing back as well.
Absolutely. We see the TP come through already for both ADCs, and that's just something we've seen a whole bunch on this patch, all backing from MSI. It's been quite the meta change, as we also see the dematerializer come out there. I think that was the last stack, as I just saw that minion I think that was the last one used before anyone actually ended up getting their banner there. And we're just going to see this get pushed in, and maybe moving down for this dragon here, maybe looking for a gank. Not going to find it, though. Desecration's going to sniff that out, back up, and just go back and maybe place another ward. But both teams obviously playing maybe really nervous as they're on stage. Some of these players on stage for the first time. And you got to think, like, no one really wants to make the big mistake, as we see Buckzak actually in a bit of a situation here. He's going to get poked out quite bad. But you got to think nerves got to play a big factor here. You don't want to be the team that ends up losing. You don't want to be the player that makes the big mistake. These guys' mind going through this game.
Winning the first game in a best-of-5 series is huge for the momentum and mindset, especially when you're not showing your absolute best hand in the first pick and ban. I feel that right now, though, Irvine is playing safe in every aspect except with the Graves invading. But with his flash and the pressure created by his side lanes, it's not that dangerous at all. And everywhere is basically even in experience in CS except that jungle.
Absolutely, and now we're going to see maybe a bit of a gank here. Flash might have to come out by Desecration. He's not going to flash just yet, though. Pillar's going to come through, looking to put lots of damage on a Desecration. Now kind of turning it around, putting out more damage, as both of them are actually pretty and he's fighting right back 1v2. He does get chunked down to about a quarter of his HP. but really showing the Swain dominance after he pops the ulti and getting aggressive back at them.
And once again, back into this jungle, not letting Bucksack get anything, starving him out. It's not the most exciting play, but this is macro decision making that we have not seen so effective so far this college tournament, and resembles very much high-level play from even some of the best regions, not just the high-level play of North America.
Yeah, we saw some really nice trades actually come through there. Support and ADC both getting low for either team, and lots of damage coming through. TP is no longer available, as we will see Evan back and go for a reset and come back with maybe Berserker Griefs or start to work for his first zeal, as he does come back with the Berserker Griefs. And are seeing Graves work towards his bottom side, maybe looking for a dragon or maybe potentially looking for a kill.
He was trying to find the scuttle, but Bulkzak got it first, which is really good, preventing that dragon from being taken for the next minute and a half. And hopefully they can make a play happen while vision is still not complete from University of
Yeah, we're going to
Ivern.
see a flash engage right here. We're not going to see anything land just yet, though. Rakan, a very mobile champion, and as long as he has an ally nearby, he can always get himself out, using the grand entrance, using the quickness, even if he had to. And he did have to use his flash, though. Flash for flash was traded, but ultimately a champion that's very hard to lock down.
So I want to look at the first item purchases really quickly. Julian decided to rush the the Athene's Unholy Grail, which is an interesting purchase. It provides plenty of healing for your allies and still works very well with her, and gives some magic resist versus the Desecration. But in all honesty, I would have preferred just to see Merc Treads into Ardent Sensor if you were trying to buff up your AD carry to the max. I feel that is just such a better purchase overall for every situation to make the Caitlyn possibly get towers here in the next 5 minutes. So far, though, they just keep getting pushed back, and who will get first tower is up in the air for me right now.
Yeah, it's quite a coin flip at this point in the game until we see a big fight break out or something along those lines. We're not quite sure yet, and it's just basically been just a regular laning phase for both teams. Nothing fancy has happened yet, as we do see Graves work his way towards the bottom side. Don't think they'll make anything of it, though, but maybe have their eyes actually on the Ocean Drag here, as they are clearing vision and maybe looking to start it up.
So, important to note, Julian's TP is down, where Desecration's TP is up. Also, Young Buck already has his Warrior enchantment, where Bucksack does not have his Cinder Hulk. That will make all the difference in a fight around this dragon, and it would be smart for Columbia just to seed it. But the question is, if you seed that, what will you seed next? And if you keep seeding and never fight, you'll just end up losing at about the 28-minute mark anyways, when you've been starved out everywhere.
That's a good point. And now we are going to see the Ocean Drag started up here. And this is what we were talking about earlier for as far as getting champions like Ezreal, champions like Swain that are spamming their abilities, getting them something. But now we do see Bucksack actually move towards as the Rupture is going to land. The Pillar is still available. Pillar should come through now, and he should be in a very tough spot. He's going to try and hop away, going extremely low, but doesn't look like they have anything. Flash is going to come through. Really nice escape right there. They are going to get the dragon, and in return, they make sure they don't lose anything else on the map. Really well played right there. And that's what you'd like to see out of Nuke, someone who's been performing so well throughout this tournament.
If Stumpy had just had a little bit more mana, we might have been able to see a difference in that fight. But now we're going to see most likely a 5-man dive here.
Yeah, but we're going to see a first blood actually by Evan as he gets stunned up. Bloodwater in a very tough spot, but isn't over just yet, though. Rupture is going to land. We're going to see more damage come through, but now we're going to see both go down right there. Really nice Swainy that came out there that is going to stun them up. So it is a 1-for-2. First blood is going to go over to Evan, and I don't think Bloodwater expected that much damage to come out, but when you land that binding and chain it into the trap, into the net, the headshots that come afterwards, it's just so hard to deal with, and so much damage came out there. But we are going to see Bucksack actually take the Rift in return there, but really well played by UCI.
Okayly played at best. he did not need to be that far up. They had the teleport. They could have taken that 10-15 seconds slower and juggled the aggro much more effectively, that nobody need died and be a clean 2s for 0. Not to mention the first blood bonus gold as well. Nerves might be showing a bit here.
It definitely could be. I mean, the gold definitely went to the places you wanted it to go to. Swain has a bit of a lead now, but now we're going to see the Grand Entrance come through. Not going to find anything because of the spell shield. He's going to walk out. Bloodwater's fine. But yeah, nerves definitely got to be playing a factor right here. No one wants to make the mistake at all. And as we are going to get a bit of a replay here, we're going to see how Evan and Dean actually end up chaining the CC really well. Just so much damage coming out here as the Ignite's sticking on him. And this is where the dive comes through. Nothing they can really do. Desecration comes through, lands the pole, and then this is where it just becomes just cleanup basically for them. But ultimately, 2-for-1 trade. Do end up losing the Rift in the first blood, though.
So, one thing that might be possible for Columbia's College to stop the snowball from happening is Rift Herald is very difficult to deal with in this patch, and if it was to be dropped bot lane with the pressure of Evan, Volksack, and Dean there, they've already got that tower low enough. I think they could finish it off and secure them for themselves first tower blood, but they'd have to go there now and forfeit a few of their top jungle camps to Youngbin.
Exactly. I really would like to see Bucksack move towards the bot side and see if they can set that up. I mean, ultimately, a nuke is just in a situation where he's just going to be able to push Stumpy in, and he should have this. He should be having the CS lead overall in that lane. So I really would like to see the move towards bot side, drop the Rift, try to set up a play, get the mid lane pressure so that Julian can roam first. And I would love to see that play come out of them, but it's a matter of them actually trying to set that up and pull the trigger, as we've already seen nerves play a big factor. And maybe it's just because it's that first game, and as we get longer into the series, maybe the players will become more comfortable. But this first turret is getting pressured now by UCI as they're getting it down to half health, but Bucksack's here to respond.
Glad he's down there. Something happened to Julian's TP. I do not know what. It was up just 15 seconds ago, but I did not see the channel.
Yeah, now we're going to see an all-in right here. Julian's going to be taken down really low, quarter health. He looks like he should get it out, but that's going to be the pull come through. Ultimate's going to come through right there, and that's going to be another kill going over to Desecration. Julian did have his flash there, did greed out, though, and did not flash the pull, and then that is him going down right there, and now the pressure is going to be on for Columbia.
If they don't drop the Rift Herald instantaneously, they will lose this tower. It looks like they're going to lose first tower no matter what. That is one of the powers of Graves, and why I appreciate him so much when he's on my team in solo queue. Why I hate him when he's on the other team, because just one bad play and you can lose first tower so quickly.
Absolutely. We will see it traded, but as you said, the first tower did go over to UCI. Really well played by them to make sure they get that, as well as catching out Julian. A lot of really nice skill shots coming in through by Desecration, and they end up catching him out here, as we will see the replay. I think he landed I think it was 2 back-to-back pulls, and then the Graves ultimate did come through here. It might have even been a flash R. It was just to secure it and make sure. But excellent play coming out of them. And now looking like another tower might go down here, as they do have 4 members in the bot lane.
California Irvine is playing immaculately this game. They're taking their pressure in all their other lanes, making it so Evan and Dean could not pressure or get the tower as quickly as they wanted bot lane. And at this point, they have the superior scaling, the superior team fight, and the superior scrapping for the next 8-10 minutes before Stumpy, Julian, Dean, and Evan can have that team fight potential for a wombo combo. Hopefully they continue to play smart and
now
just bleed them
Julian's
out.
in a tough spot here. He might have to flash out. Flash is going to come through. Ultimate's still available, but he did not predict the flash. It was a Youngbin getting really close there to finding that kill. Flash should come through, though.
So going on to the items really quickly, we have the beginnings of a Morellonomicon from Julian, which makes perfect sense versus a Swain and the healing that Young In can get eventually on Graves. But if you're going to be building these suboptimal items for supporting your AD carry, why not choose a stronger mid laner for doing damage and for not losing your lane, not ceding your lane in all this jungle pressure? Zach would have been much happier if he hadn't lost so many camps early on and so much experience. I know Orianna was banned. I know a few other really good mid laners were banned. But when you were number one on the seed for North America, you have to have a bigger champ pool and be able to play something else.
Absolutely. I could definitely agree on that. As we actually do see Colombia move towards the top side, they're going to have 3 members up here. And you can see the Latman's a little bit aware of maybe something's going fishy. He drops the pink ward, but he does still have the arcane shift as well as the flash. He's going to walk down, clear a ward, but they're going to walk back here. And this is going to be an engage maybe coming through, or it looks like they're actually just going to concede it, not go for it, but they're going to lose their tower because of it.
The mobility of Blood in the Water and Latman was too great. They could have jumped over the other side. The blast cone was there. They needed to go sooner and commit the flashes, and they didn't. And nerves. It must be nerves at this point. Colombia is too afraid to pull the trigger and continuing to seed over and over and over, more and more. And they are getting starved out at this point greatly.
They definitely are. They aren't really taking any risks. They're basically playing very passive, and ultimately that's going to lead to a situation where maybe they end up getting caught out. Then it leads to a Baron, and then they're so far under that there's nothing they can really do to respond. So really curious to see how they end up going forward. If they actually end up finding some picks, maybe start to get their comfort a little bit more, see if they can find some engages. But ultimately, they're playing the map very passive, and they're just sitting back and playing very reactive. Right?
I mentioned in the first minute of the game that one of the biggest problems with Colombia's draft is that they do not have effective hard engage. I gave them the caveat of having 3 teleports, they'd be able to find a really good flank ward for Stumpy eventually. They haven't done it yet, and they've seeded so much, I don't think they're going to be able to get vision for a teleport ward ever this game. And unless University of California, Irvine makes a bad play, I don't see this game going anywhere but slow bleeding death for Colombia at this point. The one caveat might be Stumpy using Cho'Gath Feast to steal a Baron here in about 6 or 7 minutes if Irvine tries to go too quickly and rushes that Baron fight later on.
For sure. And just to touch on something as well is I don't know if we've seen too many games actually come out of Julian where he's on more of a support mid laner rather than a carry mid laner. And it's kind of got to make you wonder going forward. I mean, as we actually see a bit of an engage here, Binding is going to land here. Might see the ultimate coming out of Swain. Flash is going to come through right there. We're going to see lots of damage come through, but nothing being taken down just yet. I believe we did see the Ignite, but did not do enough. And now we see that Dean's in a tough spot here. He's going to get W'd, and he's going to be able to walk out, but lots of damage come through. But just to go back to my point there, we haven't really seen any games, maybe one, of Julian playing this Enchantress mid laner here. And I'm curious to see if they go forward with a different draft, because there's a lot of pressure on Evan to take over the game. But if they fall so far behind that Evan isn't able to do anything, and it's got to make you wonder about the drafts going forward.
I want to touch really quickly on this buy from Stumpy. The Adaptive Helm is actually quite effective versus the Gnar, not to mention the Swain as well. Because of the Gnar's 3-hit passive doing % max health magic damage, it can help be the difference between life and death when he has to run for 30 seconds from this Gnar with Black Cleaver and Frozen Mallet. So, a better buy than Spirit Visage at this point in time, in my opinion. for the tankiness he needs for both the team fights and the solo lane to try to cede as little as possible until somehow they find that immaculate team fight they're hoping and praying for at this point.
Yeah, it's gonna make you wonder for sure. I mean, like it seems like at this point in the game, this is just where they're just gonna start pushing in waves. Slowly but surely, Nuke's going to be able to force out Stumpy out of the lane eventually, get some damage onto the tower, and then they're just going to look for a Nasher, look to set up, deny, or maybe even just bait the Nasher and force them into a fight. They have a lot of really good tools. They have the quickness from Rakan for some excellent engages, and that is definitely when he gets multiple targets with the quickness into the grand entrance. It is just an amazing combo, and there's so much burst damage that comes out of their team that they'll be able to blow up just about anybody.
If we could imagine a different tank or a different support with better engage, the issue would still exist somewhat. We have a Gnar with his hop that is so hard to kill. We have the Swain who is almost finished with his Zonias already, has the stopwatch. We have the mobility of the Rakan and the Ezreal. This comp built by Irvine is so safe and yet so strong in so many ways, and if they can get a pick draft phase like this again when they're on the blue side, this series might be over, not just this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're going to see a huge engage. Julian's going to flash out right away, though, as he does get pulled back. We are going to see Bucksack also move towards there, but he's not going to be able to do anything either. But yeah, this is an amazing draft coming out of them. I mean, you don't really see Colombia utilizing their draft very well. They didn't get the first tower, didn't really lead anything. But we're going to see now an engagement become out here as we are going to see them cutting back. We're going to see a flash come out of there, Young Bin, and now we're going to see Desecration. I believe he does have his flash as well, so he might flash out. That's going to be the pull coming through. Also, lots of damage coming through. Flash is going to come through right there, and now that's Bucksack finding a kill. But as we look towards the mid lane, we can see that tower is getting taken down, close to going down here as it's about quarter health.
That was 3 summoners for 2 plus a kill, but they also lost so much mid lane. And will they be able to do that again? The only reason they could pull that fight off was it was a 4v2 and Desecration didn't want to take the fight. It was good. It was good. And hopefully they can keep getting it. I want to see a competitive game here, but I'm just...
Now we're going to see Julian in a tough spot. Does have some friends here to back him up, but we're going to see an engage. Grand Entrance is going to come through. Not going to find anything just yet. Spell Shield's going to come well, and now they're going to cutting back, and they're going to see if they can put out any more damage, but they're just going to walk out. Really nice side steps coming through from that Grand Entrance. I really would have liked to see the quickness land onto a few people and then use the Grand Entrance, but he was a little bit premature on that and did not find anything.
Bucksack was MVP there, using the pillar to stop the Q from Graves. So critical for saving his team's life there and stopping the harder commit from Rakan a few seconds later.
Yeah, absolutely. Kill did come through there. It was a quick replay. And now we are going to see another dragon. I believe we might have missed the dragon from earlier, which would have been an infernal drag, which now totals up to 3 dragons total for UCI. And that's going to be lots of regen for mana and health going forward, which is just going to be so much better for Latman, who can just constantly send out this poke damage.
One of the things people forget about the Manumume, sorry, I've never been able to say that item's name, and only one champion uses it, Ezreal, so sometimes it feels bad to force myself to mangle my tongue to get that word to work. It does damage based off how much mana you have left, and it consumes some of your mana. With 2 Ocean Drakes, it is always topped off, maxing out his poke potential and damage potential. It is so powerful with this double tier build to have those Ocean Drakes.
Absolutely. It plays a big factor, and it helps almost, obviously helps the rest of their team, but Swain's also a big mana user as well, so it's definitely pretty effective. But now we're going to see a Baron actually started up. It's just the 2 of them at the moment, as they still have the Gnar split pushing in the bottom, and this is what we talked about, them pulling the trigger on it, and we can tell Colombia has no idea, because they actually have their AD carry in the mid lane. They're not expecting to be on this Baron. They don't have the vision to show them that they're on this Baron. We can see that Bucksack is slowly making his way over as they use the blue ward, but it's too late. That's going down. And now this is where they can really start to pressure these towers, really start to break the base, and look to really find some engages.
Captain Nuke will be very, very efficient at taking towers in this split push that's about to begin. I want to see what he's using that null magic cloak for, whether it be something like a Maw of Malmortis or more tank items. Last series that he did to get into the finals, he was very much the champion who was all about the side lane, did not build for the team fight. So I'm expecting either a Maw of Malmortis or a Quicksilver Sash from that item.
Yeah, that definitely will most likely come through. And now this is where we want to see the setup. We want to see the setup from UCI here. We want to see them start to place their ward, clear vision, start to knock down some towers. But we're going to maybe see Youngbin in a tough situation. He's actually not even going to get the flash out or E out over the wall. He's going to get taken down, and that might actually delay the push a bit. They may not be able to get as much as they hope for. However, they are going to still lose some towers as top is going to go down, and then we are going to see the Gnar slowly push on the bottom. But they might be able to delay a little bit of a push, but ultimately still getting a tower out of it.
That was very well done by Columbia College, that they were able to get that pick, that they were able to realize he's out of position, and there is something to be said about a Caitlyn 6 item with full support.
And Bucksack's going to get taken down right away by Lam, and he's going to get caught out in a tough spot. But lots of damage coming through from this Ezreal Swain now.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. Oh, another catch right now.
And now we're going to see a binding is actually going to catch onto him, but we're going to see Rakan very mobile. He's going to get out, no problem whatsoever. But we can see Caitlyn's actually starting to come online. 3 items. Maybe this is the point where Evan's going to get the shields from his mid laner. He's going to be able to play a little bit more aggressively and maybe put out a lot more autos in these fights. And we can see actually Dean's just on a roll with these bindings, finding target after target.
Evan can definitely do the damage and kill the targets if they are in front of him, but with Captain Snook's side lane build, with Desecration's superior 1v1 fight versus Julian with the champ selects in the item build,
Binding's not going to find anything. We're going to see Bucksack now going forward. He's going to pop the ultimate onto him. There's going to be a lot of damage coming through. Zonius is also going to go through, and we're going to see if he can stay alive for much longer. Root onto Evan, not going to find anything. They're going to walk out. Evan with another kill there, maybe going to find some more items. But it's really nice picks as they're starting to split them apart in these side lanes now.
California has misplayed extensively ever since they got that Baron. This is a terrible Baron power play for them. Even though they did get towers, they could have gotten so much more.
Yeah, we're going to see Latman actually break the base at least. Going to knock down a tower. Now we're actually going to see Bucksack move over. Latman's got the arcane shift. He's out of there. No problem. Does take a tower, but as you do say that, it looks like the Baron is actually slowly running out. But they are going to get a few towers, but it definitely could have been way worse for them. They don't lose any inhibitors, so ultimately the pressure isn't too bad, and they are able to deal with it. But on top of that, they did start to get some items, and now we can see Evan is online. He's in a position where he might be able to start to carry this game for them and turn it around.
Youngbin, Latman, and Blood in the Water need to be 3-man in the middle and just back off if Evan is there. If he's, well, not back off, but keep the pressure, keep Evan there. Without Evan, the rest of the team does not have the damage, even in a 3v1, to kill Captain Nuke or Desecration in any time faster than 30 seconds. So, if Evan's mid, you're safe to push. If he's not, back up, everybody back up and start the 1-3-1 again properly. They were showing great macro play up until that Baron split push, and I just don't know what happened. It was very mind-boggling to me, and I hope that they can calm down, play the game, play the draft. They have 3 dragons, they're about to get a 4th. They have the Elder Drake win secure for later on as well. Just play that game. Don't give away a free game and harm yourself mentally so terribly for the rest of this series.
Absolutely. I mean, we look at this, and actually now we might see a bit of an engaged. Stumpy's here with the rupture, not going to shoot anything out just yet, though, but just trying to force a little bit of pressure trying to find a pick. But now we're going to see Nara work that top lane and maybe look for an inhibitor, or at least to pressure it a bit more as we see all of Colombia look to rotate out.
That's what they needed to do. That's what I want to see. This is much better 1-3-1 than what was being done 4 minutes ago. Nar keeps the pressure top. Swain keeps the pressure bot. And just make sure Evan stays interested in the mid lane. And they will slowly but surely win this game in the safest and most clean way possible.
Absolutely, they will. And we're going to see that they're slowly just letting them catch wave after wave. And as we see them constantly push into waves, we're actually seeing them collect a lot of the gold, and we're seeing them collect a lot of the XP. So ultimately, not a whole lot is being denied by them. They are down quite a bit of gold, but they are getting the wave shoved into them, and they're not getting anything made out of it yet. Now, we do have Baron coming up in about 50 seconds, and that's where we're going to see UCI really start to pressure, really start to get this Baron. And if they get this Baron, I would really like to see them put on a better 1-3-1 than what we just saw.
So something to make note of, it was not a Malmortis or a Quicksilver Sash, but instead of Adaptive Helm for Captain Nuke, which, thinking about it, is quite useful. Stumpy's magic damage is consistent with his Vorpal Spikes. Subjugation is 10 seconds of consistent magic damage. Julian is all magic damage. It is a very safe item to protect him if he gets 3-man ganked without Evan being there. And the Black Cleaver is just one more item to secure his 1v1 dominance and his tower taking ability to win this split push game that they have drafted.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is going to be Nuke slowly putting so much damage through. And we can actually see that Colombia is getting a little bit more aggressive on the map. They're starting to push to about the halfway point on the map now and starting to make themselves a little bit more known. But as they do that, Nuke is just in a position where he's just going to constantly pressure Stumpy in this 1v1. But the Baron is on the table, and they do not want to let them slip away another one for free. Because that last one they had no idea about, but they just keep clearing the vision and keep making it as dark as possible for Colombia.
So, this almost seems like a wet noodle fight, so I'll continue talking about the items. Julian bought another interesting item with the Banshee Veil. It's not a huge support item, it's not a huge damage item. Why is he doing it? What is his game plan that makes sense with Karma? The one thing that makes sense is he will want to stand by Evan to keep Evan alive. He is critical for getting that super shield on Evan to keep Evan alive in these later games. And if he gets hit...
And now we're going to see a bit of an engage here. Lots of damage coming through. Buckjack maybe looking for more, but not going to throw the pillar just onto Latman that was. And now we can see them as they're starting to pressure. They tried to actually out-rotate them as they saw them clearing vision in the mid lane, but they started to rotate down. But it was spotted out, sniffed out by Julian to stop it there.
Yes. Well played by Colombia to not get caught, to continue to fight, and trying to get the fight they want eventually. But what I was trying to say is Banshee Veil allows Julian to not get CC'd by the quickness.
And we're going to see a bit of an engage here. We can see the shots that are coming out of Youngbin are actually so big. We're going to see the binding come through, and Flash Binding not going to find anything. Dean, just a bit of a whiff on that. But we can see the constant engage. We can actually see Colombia really wanting to pull the trigger. They know that they're going to lose the bot lane turret eventually. But now we're going to see a huge fight break out here. We're going to see Evan actually clean up one, maybe looking for more. TP is also going to come through by Stumpy. Now, we have not seen anything from Nuke. Nuke is still in the bot lane, and he's going to be able to get more. So now Colombia is basically forced to start this Baron as they see a bit of an engage here. Ruptures might come through here to find one, and they're going to push them back into the mid lane. But they're basically forced to start the Baron because they're losing their inhibitor. And as they lose this, Nuke might just move towards breaking the rest of the base. And we're going to go forward here. Nothing's happening just yet. Baron's down to about 9k HP. We can still see that Nuke is putting in lots of damage here. We're going to see lots of damage coming on the Youngbin. Youngbin's going to find one, though. That's going to be Julian going down, maybe looking for more. That's going to be two. Now, Bucksack going to find himself dead. But we can see that Nuke's ending the game. As we see more damage come through, there's nothing they can really do. Rupture's not going to land. We can just see them trying to fight Evan, looking for auto attacks, but not in range. And Nuke has now gotten one turret down. As we see the ultimate come through, he's going to find another one. But they've lost so much for this.
That was so well done, called by California Irvine. They kept Captain Nuke down there. He got all the towers. He used his split push. And in the end, it was a 3-death to 2-death trade, but breaking that bot lane makes it so much more easy to continue the split push to get the Baron for free. I mentioned earlier that a Cho'Gath steal with Feast was one of their biggest fears. Cho'Gath no longer has TP. There is no way that he can deal with the split push, and it should become a free Baron.
We're going to see a double TP come through here. Dean's maybe in a tough spot. Evan has the black shield, putting out tons of damage right now, chunking them down auto after auto. Not much they can do. Desecration looking for the pull. Is going to find one, though. Evan running down really low. Is going to be down to quarter health, trying to see if they can do anything. Nor Nuke is about to Mega Gnar, though. Here comes the Mega out of him. He's looking for multiple targets. Not going to find anything, but Evan is now down. There's no damage to really be dealt. As we see more damage come through, Pole's going to pull him back, and we can see more damage as that's a triple kill going over Desecration now. Bucksack, last one alive, as we see the Arcane Shift come through for Latman. Latman looking to clean that up, and this should be the game.
Super minions in the bot lane already. Very well played by California Ivern. Immaculate draft.
You can just see Julian now going down, and this is just it. Game 1 should be secured by them. Really well played. Excellent macro play.
So the one thing I want to see from Colombia next game is put Julian on something that can carry by itself. A Syndra would have been very impressive in that game, in my opinion, for the first 15 minutes. It would have always been able to deal damage. Or a Malhazar. We haven't seen a Malhazar yet this tournament, I believe. But it was something that came up late into the MSI. And on the low ping, with expectation of a Rakan engaged, you can stop him in his tracks with that suppression. Put Julian on something that he can carry on for Colombia. And like I said earlier, for Irvine, I want to see them draft that immaculately again when they are on the blue side and not the red side with the easy counter picks.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a great point. I mean, throughout all of the success from Colombia, we've seen that it's been Stumpy and it's been Julian that have put on the show for us, that have displayed multiple mechanical plays, that have changed the game. And we've seen Evan kind of play more towards that Ezreal, that more passive lane. So I would really agree with that. I want to see them draft towards more of a carry mid lane or even a carry top lane. So hopefully we get that going forward with these other drafts. But after that, I mean, it was ultimately decent play coming into UCI. They had a really bad first Baron play, but the second Baron play, they really contributed really well. They make sure they denied it, and then they ended up ending the game off of that. Nothing they could do, and it just seemed like Colombia got suffocated out of that one.
They were 7,000 gold down at the 17-minute mark with only a few 3 towers down. It was very well done, getting the Graves ahead, forcing the Trundles to seed, and when all that happened, wave after wave, dragon after dragon, and eventually tower after tower fell in the favor of Irvine, letting them win this game. And let's see if they can do it again next game. Thank you everybody for watching. Leave your comments and suggestions down below, and we will get the next game for you up as soon as possible as well. Thank you and goodbye.
See you in game 2, guys.